Have you been feeling like everything around you is changing, but you're not sure what's going on? Or maybe it feels like things are moving in the wrong direction. Don't worry, you're not alone. I'm here to remind you that God is shifting things in your favor, even when you can't see it yet. You're about to step into a season of growth, blessings, and divine favor. Trust me, change is on the way. So if you've been waiting for that breakthrough, or if you feel like life has been pushing you in a direction you don't understand, this message is for you. I believe God is preparing you for something big. Before we dive into this life-changing journey, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because you don't want to miss the powerful messages coming your way. Also, drop a comment if you feel that shift in your spirit. I'd love to hear how this message is speaking to you today. Let's get into it and explore how God is about to change your life for the better. Sometimes life has this way of throwing us into complete chaos, making it feel like everything we've worked so hard for is slipping through our fingers. You're going through your days, thinking things are stable, your job feels secure, your relationship seems solid, and you have a plan, a vision, a direction, and then, out of nowhere, it all starts unraveling. The job you relied on suddenly isn't as stable as you thought. People you trusted start acting differently, pulling away, or showing you sides of themselves you never expected. Doors you were so sure would open stay shut, and no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to force them open. And it's frustrating. It's scary. It makes you question everything. You start wondering, did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? That sinking feeling in your chest, that deep sense of uncertainty, it's almost unbearable. Because you thought you were on the right path. You thought you had it figured out. And now it feels like you're stuck, lost, and unsure of what's next. But what if I told you this wasn't a setback? What if I told you this wasn't rejection? It was redirection. What if, instead of things falling apart, they were actually falling into place? See, here's something that isn't talked about enough. Before something truly great happens in your life, there's almost always a season of discomfort, a season where everything that isn't meant for you starts fading away. And that process, it's not smooth, it's not painless, but it is necessary. Because here's the truth. When you're being positioned for something greater, the things that no longer serve you can't come with you. That job that you've outgrown, it has to go. That relationship that's been holding you back, it has to be removed. That plan you made, the one that seemed so perfect but wasn't aligned with where you're truly meant to be, it has to shift. And I get it. It doesn't feel like a blessing when you're in the middle of it. It feels like loss. It feels like confusion. It feels like everything you've worked for is being taken away, and that's terrifying. Because as human beings, we crave stability. We cling to what we know, even when what we know isn't right for us. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in a situation that didn't make you happy, simply because it was familiar? A job that drained you but felt safe. A relationship that wasn't fulfilling but was at least comfortable. A routine that no longer excited you but felt easier than starting over. We do this all the time. We hold on to things that we've outgrown because change is scary, because stepping into the unknown feels overwhelming. But here's something you need to understand. When life is shifting in your favor, when something greater is ahead of you, you will feel discomfort. That's not a sign that things are going wrong. It's a sign that things are changing. Think of it like this. When a snake sheds its skin, it doesn't just wake up one day and effortlessly slip into its new form. The process is uncomfortable. The old skin gets tight. It starts to crack. It hurts. But that discomfort is necessary for growth. If the snake resisted the process, if it refused to shed the old, it wouldn't survive. And the same goes for you. You're outgrowing your old life. You're shedding the things, the people, the habits that can't come with you into this next season. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's confusing. But it's also a sign that something better is on its way. Look back on your life for a second. Think about the times when things didn't go as planned. The times you thought you had everything figured out, only for life to pull the rug out from under you. And now, with the benefit of hindsight, don't you see how it all worked out? How the things you once thought were losses were actually blessings in disguise. Maybe that job you didn't get led you to a better opportunity. Maybe that person who walked away made room for someone who truly valued you. Maybe that plan that didn't work out was just a stepping stone to something even greater. That's what's happening right now. It might not make sense yet, but one day it will. One day you'll look back on this moment, the moment when everything felt uncertain, when you questioned everything, and you'll realize that this was the turning point. This was the shift. So don't fight it. Don't resist the process. Instead, trust it. Trust that what's being removed from your life is making space for something better. Trust that the closed doors are leading you to the right ones. Trust that this season of discomfort is setting you up for something greater than you can even imagine. Life has a way of changing in an instant. One day everything feels still, predictable, almost stagnant. You're waiting, hoping, praying for something to shift, but it seems like nothing is happening. And then, out of nowhere, the doors start opening. The phone rings with the opportunity you've been waiting for. The connection you needed suddenly appears. The breakthrough that once felt impossible is now right in front of you. Change comes fast, often without warning, and when it does, the real question is, are you ready for it? So many times people pray for a shift, but when it finally comes, they hesitate. They second-guess it. They cling to old patterns, old mindsets, old fears that keep them from stepping into the very thing they've been asking for. They get so used to waiting that when the opportunity finally arrives, they aren't prepared to take it. And that's where the real challenge lies, not just in waiting for change, but in being ready for it when it happens. Think about how the biggest moments in life often come suddenly. A job offer that requires an immediate decision. A relationship that enters your life when you least expect it. A door that opens without warning, requiring you to step through it before it closes again. There isn't always time to prepare after the shift begins. The preparation has to happen beforehand, in the quiet moments when nothing seems to be moving. That's when the groundwork is laid. That's when the foundation is built. Preparation isn't just about physical readiness. It's about mindset. It's about staying spiritually and mentally aligned so that when the shift comes, you recognize it for what it is. It means staying connected, staying open, staying expectant. Too many people miss their moment because they're stuck in old ways of thinking, holding on to comfort when they should be embracing change. They ask for a new chapter but refuse to turn the page. But when the shift happens, there's no time to cling to the past. You have to be willing to move. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For a long time, nothing seems to be happening. There's no sign of movement, no proof that growth is occurring beneath the surface. But then one day, the breakthrough comes. A tiny sprout pushes through the dirt. And just like that, everything changes. The growth wasn't sudden. It had been happening all along, unseen. But when the moment of emergence arrived, it was unstoppable. That's how shifts happen in life. The work is being done in the background, even when you can't see it. The doors are being prepared before they open. The opportunities are aligning before they become visible. And when the moment arrives, you have to be ready to act. So what does that readiness look like? It means staying connected to something greater than yourself, trusting that the right opportunities will come at the right time. It means releasing fear, doubt, and the idea that things have to happen in a certain way or on a specific timeline. It means being bold enough to step forward when the door opens, even if it feels unfamiliar or uncertain. Because the truth is, when your moment comes, you won't have time to stop and question whether you're ready. You won't have time to overthink or ask for more signs. The window will open and you'll either step through it or watch it close. This is your reminder that the shift is coming. The opportunity, the breakthrough, the answered prayer. It's already in motion, even if you can't see it yet. And when it arrives, you don't want to be caught unprepared. You don't want to let hesitation or doubt hold you back. You want to be able to step into it fully, knowing that this is what you've been waiting for. So don't just wait. Prepare. Let go of the old. Stay open to the new, and when the moment comes, step forward with confidence. Because when everything shifts, you'll want to be ready. There's something incredibly frustrating about delays. We all know what it's like to feel like we're waiting for something that seems just out of reach. You've prayed for that breakthrough. You've worked hard for that opportunity, and yet everything seems to be moving at a pace that feels painfully slow. And in the middle of it, you start to wonder, why is this taking so long? Why is this happening to me? But what if the delay, the struggle, the waiting period isn't a punishment? What if it's actually part of a bigger plan, something that's being orchestrated behind the scenes? It's hard to see it when you're in the thick of it, but sometimes the very things that feel like setbacks are actually setups for something far greater. You've probably heard people say that God's timing is perfect, and while it's easy to roll your eyes when you're in the middle of a waiting season, there's truth in those words. The reality is that God doesn't operate on our timeline. He doesn't work according to the deadlines and expectations we place on our lives. What feels like a delay could actually be divine preparation. Maybe you've been asking for something, and it feels like you're being met with nothing but silence. You see others around you receiving blessings, moving forward and living out their dreams, and you wonder why your turn hasn't come yet. But here's the thing, you're not being forgotten. You're not being ignored. The delay isn't a sign that you're being left behind. It's a sign that God is preparing you for what's next, even if you can't see it yet. Think about it. Sometimes we aren't ready for the things we ask for. We want the blessing, but we haven't developed the strength or the character to handle it. We ask for success without realizing how much responsibility it brings. We ask for love without being fully equipped to give it in return. We ask for wealth without knowing how to manage it. We pray for dreams to come true, but we haven't yet built the foundation to support them. That's where the waiting comes in. The delay is not a denial, it's preparation. God needs to build your strength so that when your breakthrough comes, you'll be able to handle it. The delay is about increasing your faith, teaching you patience, and helping you grow into the person you need to become in order to handle the blessings that are on the way. Think about the story of David in the Bible. Before he was anointed as king, he spent years in the fields, tending sheep. He wasn't in the palace, he wasn't in the spotlight, he wasn't living the life of a king. He was just a young shepherd, doing the hard work behind the scenes. But those years in the fields weren't wasted. They were preparation. In that time, David learned how to protect, how to lead, how to overcome fear, and how to depend on God. Those were lessons he needed to learn before he could step into the role he was destined for. Without those years of struggle, he wouldn't have been ready for the responsibility of ruling a kingdom. And in the same way, the struggles you're facing now, the delays you're experiencing, are shaping you. They're teaching you lessons that will help you handle what's coming next. Maybe you don't see it yet, but God is using this time to develop your character, strengthen your faith, and equip you with the tools you need to succeed. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen on our timeline. It's easy to start doubting yourself, to question whether you're doing something wrong, or to believe that maybe you're just not meant to have the life you've dreamed of. But the truth is, God's plans are always bigger and better than anything we could imagine. The delay doesn't mean you're being forgotten. It means you're being prepared. So instead of seeing the delay as a setback, try to see it as a setup. Trust that this time of waiting is making you stronger. Trust that the struggle is teaching you the lessons you need to know. Trust that the preparation is happening, even if it's invisible to you right now. Because when your time comes, you'll be ready, and the blessing you've been waiting for will be even greater than you ever imagined. There's a familiar feeling that comes when we're waiting for something, an opportunity, a dream, a breakthrough, and it feels like time is slipping away. We look around and see others moving ahead, chasing their dreams, and it seems like their lives are unfolding exactly as they imagined. Meanwhile, we're left wondering, did I miss my moment? Was my window for success already closed? We've all been there, haven't we? You feel like you're running out of time. You feel like you've waited long enough, and yet nothing seems to be moving. It's easy to think that you've missed your chance, that somehow you've fallen behind, or that maybe your dreams are just too far out of reach. But here's the truth. Just because things haven't happened on your timeline doesn't mean they won't. And just because you're not where you expected to be doesn't mean you're not exactly where you're supposed to be. God's timing is never late. It doesn't operate on the clock we're used to. In our world, everything is about deadlines, about schedules, about getting things done in a certain time frame. But with God, things don't unfold because they should at a certain moment. They unfold because the timing is right. We often can't see the bigger picture when we're in the midst of waiting. It's hard to understand why things aren't happening when we think they should. We can't always make sense of why something is taking longer than expected. We feel the pressure of time running out, and in those moments, doubt creeps in. Maybe we've made too many wrong turns, maybe we're not good enough, or maybe we're just not meant for the things we're dreaming of. But what if that feeling of being behind is just part of the process? What if the delay you're feeling isn't a sign of failure, but rather a sign that God is orchestrating something much bigger than you can see right now? When you're on the edge of giving up, when it feels like you've reached the end of your patience, that's often when God is working behind the scenes to bring everything together in a way that will set you up for success. You might not see it in the moment, but what feels like a delay could be the very thing that's preparing you for your next season. Think about a seed that's buried in the ground. The seed doesn't grow overnight. It doesn't spring up the moment it's planted. It has to break open, stretch, and endure a period of unseen growth before it can emerge. If you were to dig up that seed too soon, you'd interrupt the process. The seed wouldn't have had the chance to become what it was meant to be. The same is true for your life. There are seasons of preparation, seasons where things may feel like they're not moving forward, and it might seem like you're stuck. But all that time is part of the growth process. God isn't late. He's simply preparing you for the right season. You may be in the process of becoming the person you need to be to handle the blessings that are on the way. You may be learning lessons, building strength, or growing in ways that you can't see yet. It's easy to get discouraged when your dreams seem far off, or when the road ahead looks uncertain. But when you trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it feels like it's late, you start to let go of the pressure to force things to happen. You stop worrying about how long it's taking and start trusting that God is aligning everything for you in the right moment. You may not know why things haven't happened yet. You may not know why it's taking longer than expected, but I want you to hold on to this. God is never late. His timing is perfect, and He's working behind the scenes in ways that you can't yet see. When your breakthrough comes, when your moment arrives, it will be at exactly the right time, not a moment too soon or too late. So, when you feel like time is running out, when you feel like you've missed your chance, remember this: your dreams are not over. They're just waiting for the right moment to unfold. Trust in the process. Trust that God's timing is at work in your life, even when you can't see it. And when the right season comes, you'll be ready for everything He has in store for you. Life has a funny way of testing us, doesn't it? Sometimes it feels like we're fighting an uphill battle, one obstacle after another, and just when we think we've overcome one challenge, another one appears. It's exhausting, it's discouraging, and in those moments it's easy to wonder if maybe you're just not cut out for this, if maybe your dreams are too big, or if all the setbacks are a sign that you should give up. But I want to share something with you that might change how you see what you're going through right now. The truth is, the battle you're facing could actually be a sign that your breakthrough is closer than you think. The struggle, the obstacles, the challenges. It's not just resistance for the sake of resistance. It's preparation. It's the process that gets you ready for the transformation that's coming. And I know it's hard to see it in the middle of the storm, but what if the very things you're fighting against right now are actually signs that you're on the verge of something big? Think about how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. Before it can spread its wings and soar, it has to go through an intense process of breaking free from its cocoon. It doesn't just magically emerge as a butterfly, it has to struggle. The process is tough, but that struggle is what strengthens it for flight. If the caterpillar were to be helped out of its cocoon, it would never develop the strength it needs to survive as a butterfly. The struggle isn't a hindrance to its transformation, it's a part of it. And that's how it is with us. The battles we face aren't signs that we're doomed. They're signs that something powerful is being birthed within us. It's the push we need to break free from where we've been and step into something new. You might feel tired. You might feel like you're carrying more than you can handle. But remember, this battle is shaping you. It's strengthening you. It's getting you ready for what's ahead. You're closer to your breakthrough than you think. The fact that the battle feels so fierce is often an indicator that you're nearing the end of the struggle. Sometimes the bigger the battle, the bigger the blessing that's about to unfold. But in those moments when you're worn out and discouraged, it can be hard to see that. It's easy to get caught up in the fight and lose sight of the victory waiting on the other side. But don't give up now. Don't throw in the towel just because things are hard. The very things that seem like obstacles are often the stepping stones to your next level. In fact, every time you overcome an obstacle, you're becoming stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the next challenge. The battles you're facing are refining you, making you sharper, teaching you perseverance, and building your faith. You're becoming someone who can handle greater opportunities, bigger dreams, and more responsibility. This struggle isn't here to break you. It's here to shape you into the person you need to be, to carry the blessing that's coming your way. Think about the great moments in life. Those moments when everything finally clicks, when the breakthrough comes, when everything you've been working for falls into place. They don't come without their own struggles. Every success story, every person who has achieved something incredible has faced their own battles along the way. But what they didn't do was give up when the going got tough. They kept going, knowing that the breakthrough was right around the corner. So when the fight feels relentless, remember this: the battle is a sign of what's ahead. It's not a sign of defeat. It's a sign of transformation. It's the cocoon phase, and you're about to break free and fly. Keep going. Don't give up. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, and this battle is simply the process that prepares you to step into your new season. There are moments in life when it feels like the people you've trusted, the ones who were once by your side, suddenly begin to drift away. It's confusing, and if you're honest, it can be heartbreaking. Maybe someone you've loved for years, someone you thought would always be there, starts to act distant. Or perhaps there's a sudden break in the relationship that leaves you wondering what went wrong. It's easy to take this personally, to feel betrayed or abandoned. but I want to share something with you that might change how you see these moments. Sometimes, when God is about to elevate you, when He's preparing you for something greater, He has to remove people who are no longer aligned with your destiny. It's not that these people were bad, or that they've done something wrong. It's just that they're not meant to be part of your next season. And that's okay. As hard as it may be to understand in the moment, it's a necessary part of your growth. You see, not everyone who started the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. Some people are meant to be with you for a certain chapter, but not the whole book. God knows what lies ahead, and sometimes, in His wisdom, He removes people from your life because they no longer serve the purpose He has for you. These people might love you, and you might love them, but they're not part of the next level that God is calling you to. Letting go of relationships, especially those that have deep roots, can be one of the hardest things to do. We want to hold on to the familiar, to the comfort of the relationships we've built. The idea of stepping into something new without certain people by your side can feel scary. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to walk with you into your new season. Some relationships, as difficult as it is to admit, can hold you back. When God is shifting things in your favor, He's aligning you with the right people, the people who will support you, encourage you, and challenge you to step into your purpose. These people might not always be the ones you expect, but they will be the ones who help you grow. The ones who align with your calling, who can see the potential in you, and who are willing to walk with you through every season. You can't carry everyone with you to the next level. It's like trying to climb a mountain with too much weight on your back. You'll never reach the top if you're carrying things or people that aren't meant to be with you on that journey. God knows what you need, and sometimes that means making room for new relationships that will elevate you rather than drain you. I know it can be painful to let go, to release the people who have been part of your life for so long. But trust this: God is looking out for your destiny. He's creating space for the right people to come into your life, people who will be a positive influence, who will walk alongside you with purpose, and who will help you fulfill the dreams He's placed in your heart. If you're facing a season where it feels like relationships are shifting, where people are stepping away or leaving your life, don't be discouraged. It's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that God is preparing you for something better. He's removing what doesn't serve you so that He can bring in what will. Let go of the old and trust that the right people, those who will support your growth and align with your purpose, are on their way. Your destiny is too important to carry the wrong people into it. Trust that God has a plan for your life, and He will bring the right relationships into your world at just the right time. The people who are meant for you will show up, and they will be exactly who you need to help you step into everything God has prepared for you. When you're in the midst of waiting for a breakthrough, it's easy to focus entirely on the external changes you're hoping for. You might be praying for a new job, a new relationship, financial stability, or maybe just a shift in your circumstances. And it's good to hold on to hope, to believe that change is coming. But here's something you might not always consider. The shift you're waiting for isn't just happening out there. It's happening in here, in your heart, your mind, and your spirit. God's not just changing your circumstances, He's preparing you for them. You might think that the blessings, the breakthroughs, and the new opportunities are the ultimate goal, but in reality, those things are only part of the picture. The true transformation that's happening, the one that will last, is the one that's happening within you. Think about it. When God shifts things in your favor, He's not just giving you something new to handle, He's preparing you to handle what's coming. That means He has to work on you internally. He has to shape your mindset, heal your heart, and strengthen your spirit. If your external circumstances were to change before you were ready for them, you might not be able to manage the blessings that God wants to pour into your life. So, He's doing a deep work within you. This internal shift can feel uncomfortable at times. Growth isn't always a smooth process. It can be painful, especially when it means confronting past wounds, letting go of old habits, or challenging old mindsets that no longer serve you. You might find yourself wrestling with doubts or struggling to let go of things that have held you back for years. But understand this: it's all part of the process. God isn't doing this to make you suffer. He's doing it to prepare you for the future He's planned for you. For example, maybe you've carried around pain from past relationships, hurt from old wounds that you've never fully healed. As God works in your life, those old hurts might come up. You might find yourself confronting things you thought you had buried. It might feel overwhelming, but in truth, this is God's way of healing you. He's preparing you to move forward without that baggage. He's strengthening your emotional resilience so that you can handle the relationships, the opportunities, and the challenges ahead without being weighed down by your past. Or maybe, for you, the internal shift is happening in your mindset. Perhaps you've been stuck in a place where you've doubted your abilities or felt like you weren't worthy of success. God is working on changing that belief, helping you see yourself the way He sees you. This shift isn't just about achieving more or getting the things you've prayed for. It's about growing into the person who can sustain and appreciate those blessings. It's about seeing your own worth, trusting your purpose, and knowing that you are capable of achieving all that God has planned for you. Sometimes this internal shift comes in the form of strengthening your faith. Maybe you're going through a season where you feel like everything is uncertain and you can't quite see what's ahead. God uses these moments to deepen your trust in Him, to strengthen your reliance on His timing, and to help you let go of the need to control every outcome. This shift in your faith isn't always easy. It requires vulnerability, surrender, and a willingness to trust even when you don't have all the answers. But when you let go and allow God to strengthen your trust, you'll be able to walk confidently into the new season He's preparing for you. The thing is, these internal shifts aren't always visible to others. They might not look like much on the outside, but they are the foundation for everything that's about to unfold. As God works in your heart and mind, He's laying the groundwork for the blessings, the success, and the peace that are coming your way. You might not feel like much is changing on the outside right now, but I promise you, there's a lot happening on the inside. And when the time is right, you'll be able to walk into that new season with a newfound strength, confidence, and peace. So, if you're in a season where it feels like nothing is happening on the outside, but you're wrestling internally, don't be discouraged. Trust the process. The internal shifts are just as important, if not more important, than the external changes. God is preparing you for what's to come. He's shaping you into the person who can not only handle the blessings, but also appreciate them. He's aligning your heart, mind, and spirit with His purpose for your life. And when the shift finally happens, when everything comes together, you'll see that the internal work was the key to stepping into the life you were always meant to live. Chosen one, this is your moment. I want you to hear this loud and clear. God is making a way for you. The shift is already in motion, and the road ahead holds greater things than anything you've left behind. Everything that's been shaping you, testing you, and refining you is now leading you to this new season. It's time to walk into it with confidence, knowing that God is with you every step of the way. I know there may have been moments when you felt uncertain, when the path ahead seemed unclear. Maybe there were times when you doubted if you were truly meant for the things you've been dreaming of. But right now, right here, I'm telling you, God has been preparing you for this. All those challenges, all the battles you've fought, all the growth that's been happening on the inside, It was all to get you ready for what's coming next. It's easy to second-guess ourselves when things are still in progress, when the vision isn't fully realized yet. But don't let fear, doubt, or insecurity stop you. Don't let the setbacks or the wait make you question your worth. You are ready. You have been equipped for this next chapter. It's time to walk boldly into the future that God has already paved for you. You are not walking alone. His hand is on your life, guiding you, protecting you, and leading you into a place of favor and blessing. So take a deep breath, straighten your back, lift your head. You're not just walking into the unknown. You're walking into a season where God's plans for you will unfold in ways you can't even imagine. The doors that were once closed will open. The dreams you've been holding on to will start to come to life. You have what it takes to step into this season with confidence, knowing that everything that's ahead is in alignment with the purpose God has placed in your heart. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know exactly how everything will happen. All you need is faith in the process and trust that God is already working it all out for your good. Your journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress, and you are moving forward, step by step, towards something amazing. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to step into the blessing that's waiting for you. Your new season is here, and it's filled with possibilities. Let go of the doubts and walk into it with boldness. God is making a way, and He's doing it for you. Drop an AMEN in the comments if you receive this message.